r/ask Reddit. What is something unrealistic that you often see in movies that annoys the hell out of you? The coffee cup is always empty. You can tell by how flimsy it is in the hand. I've never understood why props doesn't just put water in the cups so the actors hold them correctly. You can hear the cups are empty when they set them on a surface. This never fails to annoy me. When the character is driving and looking at the person they're talking to without crashing or even swerving. I always assume there will be a crash, and when it doesn't happen, it bothers me. You can't look away that much without crashing. Well, that the car never swerves is a miracle considering how much the actor moves the steering wheel. How the ugly unpopular girl is always stupid hot. But she's got glasses, a ponytail and paint on her overalls. Not another teen movie is both everything great and everything stupid as Duck for the American Pie teen genre. Hilarious satire. Glasses. Man. They turn Superman into Clark Kent and a cheerleader into an antisocial bookworm. Christopher Reeve. Man. Yes, even the first and best of his Superman movies was not really great cinema, but he sold the idea of Clark Kent not being recognizable as Superman. For Christopher Reeve, it definitely wasn't just the glasses. The usual explanation is some BS about Superman vibrating his face or some shit so people can't recognize him. But I think we can let that go, given that Batman's secret identity is a zillion times as easy to guess. Both of Bruce's personas are famous, while only one of Clark's is. Good morning, class. Let's open our books to page 101. Something Hollywood poignant for 90 seconds. Bell rings. In college. Homework for next week is chapter 7. The bell ringing during obvious college classes is probably my number one thing. What colleges are these people going to? Greendale Community College. Pills at work the second they hit the mouth. Alcohol kicks in the second they swallow. How male scientists look like mad scientists and female scientists are all supermodels. Or the male scientists would be lanky, nerdy guys with oversized glasses, or tottering old guys who tremble while speaking. And yes, the female scientist is always a supermodel, or she's a nerd, in which case she's still a supermodel, but wears glasses. When two people walk 5 feet away from the group and have a conversation at full volume, yet somehow no one in the group can seem to hear anymore. Can I just talk to you over here for a sec? I think your girlfriend is ducking Chad. I've noticed in a lot of movies they will let someone into their house but don't shut the front door, lol. Hey a-hole, I'm paying for that AC, and turn a light off when you're not in that room. Also, no one ever shuts a gate. I was raised in the country with animals. Shutting gates was drilled into me a whole lot deeper than table manners. Are these people insane? I've noticed that front door thing too. We had indoor cats. Do these people have invisible servants who run around shutting doors behind them? Car wrecks generally do not explode. They only explode for the faceless goons though. If the protagonist is in a serious car crash they'll walk it off like it was nothing. This is why they explode. It's used as a way of showing the crash was lethal. A realistic crash leaves people wondering whether the person survived. Every time a group of people is looking at a map diagram graph, the leader/scientist genius says, here, here and here, 3 times, always. Who does that? An obsessive compulsive scientist? Cool. My Marine friend once said I don't like war movies because they are either so inaccurate I get angry, or so accurate I get angry. But Tropic Thunder always gets a pass. Okay Flaming Dragon, duck face. First, take a big step back, and literally duck your own face. I don't know what kind of pan-Pacific bullshit power play you're trying to pull here, but Asia, Jack, is my territory, so whatever you're thinking, you'd better think again. Otherwise I'm gonna have to head down there and I will rain down an ungodly ducking firestorm upon you. You're gonna have to call the Ducking United Nations and get a ducking binding resolution to keep me from ducking destroying you. I am talking scorched earth. Mother ducker, I will massacre you. I will duck you up. Everyone in San Francisco lives in a giant Victorian house. I'm a print journalist and my husband is a sculptor. That's how you know we're interesting. Also, we live in this house and that's totally realistic. Also, it has a yard. Craig and Starcher are looking for a 2-story A-frame that's near Craig's job in the downtown, but also satisfies Starcher's need to be near the beach, which is nowhere near Craig's job. With 3 children and 9 on the way, and a max budget of $7, let's see what Lori Joe can do on this episode of You Don't Deserve a Beach House. And they find parking right in front of whenever they go. Have you tried to park in that city? Running from someone shooting an automatic gun and avoiding every shot. Bullets observe the conservation of accuracy principle. If you shoot a single bullet in a movie, it will hit its target 99% of the time. But if you shoot 100 bullets, they each drop to less than 1% of hitting the target. Works with ninjas too. 1 ninja is very dangerous. 30 ninjas is about the same level of threat in total. Massive breakfast made, and family or family member rushes out with a piece of toast. Or when they are at a bar or restaurant and leave without drinking anything from their full glass. That shit is expensive. I've worked in bars. You would be surprised how many basically full drinks get left behind. When people with jobs like cops and teachers have super nice houses or apartments. True. Can't tell you how many times I've noticed such unrealistic homes of characters in shows and movies. Damn, do I love me some good set design though. Sitcoms have entered the chat. We are a group of quirky friends. One is a student, one is an intern. The rest are in odd jobs crafted around comedic effect. We can't afford to rent this downtown Manhattan apartment, which would realistically cost $5,000 per month. People being alcoholics and yet having a perfect body. True. Except Thor. He at least got fat. And that was such a relief to see. I recently saw Peaky Blinders, and throughout the show I have been wondering how the duck these guys have such chiseled body when all they drink is just whiskey. Potatoes in medieval movies. They aren't native to Europe. They're originally from South America. So if there's a potato in your movie set in medieval Europe, that's not historically accurate. Of all things. The history of potatoes is very fascinating and funny. Drags face across the keyboard for a minute as 300 CMD windows pop up all over the screen. Imin. Girls looking perfect. They wake up with makeup on and their hair styled. Even if they're in the hospital, they spend weeks or months in captivity but don't grow leg or armpit hair. They go through a jungle with a group of guys and the men will look like shit, while the girl will get a smudge of dirt on one cheekbone. Takes me right out of the experience. Every time. 12 years after the apocalypse, society is collapsed. People are fighting for scraps. The rule of law is forgotten. Electricity and running water are things of the past. The men all have shaggy, but still slightly groomed, beards and long, unkempt hair. Meanwhile, the women have taken time between fleeing zombies, enemy hordes etc. to shave their legs and armpits, style their hair, and put on makeup. Bottomless magazines and pistols and rifles. When someone pulls out a gun and it just magically makes the sound of a hammer or slide being pulled back. Also, cops and other professionals holding someone at gunpoint for a while, then racking the slide or coking the hammer. Like, why on earth wouldn't you have a round already in the chamber? Also, people get shot in the arm or leg and suddenly someone has to become a surgeon and remove the bullet. In reality, we just staple the people back up and leave the bullet in them as long as it's not touching a vital organ. The reactor is critical. Then it explodes. Critical means that you have achieved a sustained fission reaction, not an out of control one. Going critical is actually what you want to happen in a reactor. The reactor is going critical. Oh good, let's keep an eye on that. The kids always seem to leave for school in the middle of the day. Either they have some sweet school hours or the sun needs to tone it down that early in the morning. Give me a second. These firewalls are practically unbreakable. Let me just bypass the T. Aggressive typing now to just. And I'm in. Slams the enter key and turns to the protagonist with a grin. I wish hacking a multi-million-dollar security system was that easy. All bullets happen to miss the protagonist. Hey, I'm just slippery. Hospital shows where they shock a flatline. It's a non-shockable rhythm, and the patients miraculously pick up a rhythm after 1-2 shocks and the patient is awake and talking. Wait, you only shock people if they're still ticking but not as well as you'd want them to. Have I been lied to my whole life? Yes, it's not meant to start a heart. but to correct a messed up rhythm. No one says goodbye on the phone, ever. They just finish a sentence and hang up the phone. I hate IT. No one does that, and I have never heard anyone say goodbye in a show or movie. My grandma would do that. She never said goodbye on the phone. She just hung up whenever she thought the conversation was over. Explosions. Fireballs are from pyrotechnics and they look cool, but they look nothing like real explosions from bombs or grenades. And launch people 10 feet away for no reason. Also shotguns. Shotguns, with either buckshot or slugs, are not a magic force push cannon. They do not ragdoll the person across the room. Sword fighting in movies, which is just very large swings, turning around, half swording and hitting each other's sword to make a nice clang. Also this, sword pulled from leather scabbard, sound of metal scraping on metal. Sword pulled from belt, sound of metal scraping on metal. Sword drawn along stone column, sound of metal scraping on metal. Sword lands on grass, sound of metal banking on metal. Enhance image. I once saw a feed from a ducking security camera being zoomed and enhanced to see the reflection of the assassin on the eye of the victim. I'm talking to you. CSI. CPR. Or worse, shocking asystole. When they do product placements and put the product facing the audience the whole time. I love how Wayne's World handled this. Every aspect of childbirth. Haha, I was going to say pretty much every hospital scene. I wish life was that exciting, running from code to code, saving lives with the paddles every evening. Discovering the rare Hungarian spinal parasite that only 6 people in the world have ever had, lol. But it's a lot of paperwork, fluids, and now, how did that happen? In horror films, there's always that harmless thing that startles the main character first. An animal scurrying, object falling, catching their own reflection in the mirror, etc. They laugh it off and then turn around to see the real scare, every time. Or how the characters have absolutely zero common sense. I swear, if the character had a modicum of intelligence, they'd never be in that situation. Hi, my name is Who Cares and I'm a hot, successful, and deeply unhappy woman. But that's okay. By the end of the movie I'll be happily married to a hot guy, probably pregnant, and my job disappeared like magic. Fight scenes. Most real fights are over in 30 seconds. In movies and TV they take several kicks to the head, kidney punches, the odd chair broken over your back, maybe get choked, even get stabbed, and presto, still keep on fighting. Usually they're completely unaffected and doing something that would be impossible to do just seconds after. Hey, I just got beaten to an inch of my life but somehow managed to win the fight. Let's run up these stairs like it's no problem and defuse this bomb. Hackers and how fast and easy it is to hack into a system. Just anything related to any kind of hacking, like the supposed hacker talking to you via some messenger out of nowhere, the 50 pop-ups in a second when you're hacked, the 2-second keyboard mashing and tada job is done, the GUI of hack loading, 100%, or any kind of GUI for that matter. I've got 2. Computers do not make noises that are depicted in movies. Seriously, person clicks something, computer noise intensifies. To be fair, I work in IT so it just rubs me the wrong way from a professional level. Phone calls in movies. Oh, one ring and it's a voicemail answering machine. But if someone is receiving a phone call it's an endless ring and I got it. I got how people talk to each other. It's so inauthentic and reminds me I'm watching actors reading a script. A lot of movies are getting better at this. Actors will be speaking over one another or stumbling over their words. It's very satisfying to watch for some reason. Sex scenes. I think the guy's dong would break based on his position. And women don't seem to wear underwear. It's always just whoop it's in. Look, no hands. The way actors do African accents. None of us sound like primitive village chiefs who live on the outskirts of Wakanda. Hiding behind a car like bullets don't go through doors and shit. I saw a video on the History Channel on armor and you can straight up shoot through both doors of a car with an AK-47. The bit in a car chase where somebody on a bike does a cool slide under something and just carries on. I've done a not cool version of that, and what actually happens is your left leg is pinned between tarmac and a quarter of a ton of hot metal. You aren't walking it off and the bike is ruined because you just ripped off the gear lever. When someone's drowning, they're somehow able to scream for help while flailing around. Fire sprinkler systems. Apparently in movies every single sprinkler goes off and the water comes out like torrential rain and does not stop. Guns shooting perfectly fine underwater. I think John Wick 3 was the only film I watched to show realistic underwater shooting. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.